on. Hello. Okay. So, yeah, this is going to be a very interesting game because oh, and of course my Amazon Echo is beeping immediately, telling me to sleep.
I
Yes,
can't hear it.
100%. Yeah, hold on. Alexa, stop. Thank you. I appreciate that. Anyway,
How kind of you.
so this is going to be a really interesting game because the tracer on your team is actually someone that I've coached frequently before. So,
Oh, really?
yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this is going to be very fun.
Wow. I think I
Uh-huh.
ended up playing Oh no, Echo was the sim. Okay. Yeah, I
Yes.
think they did stand.
They played Tracer. They swapped Genji a couple times, I think.
Yeah, okay. That's
So,
super
yeah.
interesting. That's pretty
Yes.
cool.
Yes. Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay. So, before we get into this, because this is going to take a little bit of a minute. All right. What do you know about Kiriko? How do you play Kiriko?
So, I usually play with a DPS duo,
Mm-hmm.
and what our I guess our usual strategy is to basically claim off angles, and I'll basically like try to stay on the off angle, and help them support that lane as long as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And if I need to, I'll TP back to the main team and like help with util there. But it's like basically flip-flopping between those two. And then occasionally I'll try to take like an off angle myself and just pressure that until I get forced out.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Um. Okay. So the thing is, I did watch this already before. Um.
Okay.
When I'm going to kind of try and talk about a little bit about some kind of behaviors that you would have that I don't necessarily agree with, and I kind of want to think about that a little
Yeah.
bit more. Okay. So when you say that you're kind of trying to play with your DPS and fight on an angle, is that oftentimes valuable?
I think it depends on the situation for sure.
Okay.
I think if the lane itself is valuable, that and taking that space is like beneficial to like distracting the other team, it's probably valuable, but in isolation, it's not necessarily like I always need to be doing that, I guess.
Okay. And why wouldn't you be doing that? What could potentially not be valuable about that?
If I had like ult.
Okay. All right. So like if you have like alt for example, all right.
Right.
And why would alting with the team be more powerful than alting on the angle itself?
Because more people would be probably affected by the ult, and it's just basically buffing like a bunch more people rather than just me and maybe one other person on the offing.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit more about your off angles and kind of how you play around that and how you kind of play for those angles. And I think it is extremely valuable that you kind of made the attempt to kind of play on your lanes with your DPS, right? Clearing out lanes or clearing out those spaces for your team. What I think, I'm just going to spoil kind of my own my interpretations of this in terms of what's
Sure.
better for that, which is that if you do have that lane in that space, oftentimes it's going to be more powerful for you to stay on that lane and use that aggressively against the enemy team than to go back to your
Okay.
team, right? And I'm going to try and see if I can explain a little bit deeper as to why, and do so in a way that's kind of understandable for you.
Got it.
Okay.
I also just want to note, like I wasn't playing with my typical duo in
Okay.
this match, so I guess like that trust I had
Hmm.
wasn't there. So
Okay.
I definitely played more conservatively than I normally would as well. But
Okay.
it's still like if I were to like solo queue
Hmm.
there's definitely things I could work on, and just like I guess trusting my teammates more in that.
Right. 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 There is going to be some times where essentially you're going to have to, because you have to put at least the faith in your teammates to do just the bare minimum of their job. You don't want to trust them to
Yeah.
do a whole lot of different, complex things oftentimes. But if they are playing certain characters and they are playing in the positions to do some things that are just like required of them, it's like your job to kind of trust that they can do that bare minimum level and then play with around that. So that's that. And that's number one. Number two, Tarte is someone that I coach that yet again. So again, if they aren't playing the way that that is that they're supposed to be, and you ever run into them in a game again, you have my full permission to hit them over the head with a mallet. So there you go. That can solve your problem at least to a temporary degree. Okay,
Yeah, I got it.
but for instance, before we get into this, right? Let me ask you this: why are off angles strong?
It basically gives you, if you play it right, it gives you more control over a larger area of the map, as well
Okay,
as like applying cross firing pressure,
right.
and make forcing the enemy to basically split the resources across like two different areas.
Okay, and that's perfect response, right? Allows you to control a lot of space that your team otherwise wouldn't be able to, and also allows you to kind of divert those the resources of the enemy team so that they can't invest all of their resources into one space and then get a maximum impact off of that. Okay, that's extremely powerful and extremely impactful. Okay, so what happens when you TP? If by that logic and understanding that, what happens when you TP back to your team?
You lose a lot of ability to just hold that space, and then whoever's left there basically gets forced off pretty easily.
Yeah, it's potentially easier for them to get forced off of that position, right? And whatnot. Okay. Is it ever going to, is it going to be like that you can, is it ever going to be a case that where you can't help on this side of the map, where things that are going to be happening on this side of the map are going to be kind of valuable and important? Or like, yeah, there's going to be times where you're going to need to well, not need to, sorry. There's going to be times where teleporting over here will give you that value, right? To help someone and to save someone. But if we are to compare that to the value that you could get deepening and taking more space on the angle, 9 times out of 10, deepening and taking more space on the angle is going to be more impactful and more valuable, right? And a big part of that is that you shouldn't necessarily have to be playing with a duo to kind of understand that. You should be able to trust especially in the rank that you're currently playing at, that
Right.
players are going to be able to kind of like do that
Yeah,
pretty well and pretty effectively. Okay. Right.
got it.
Right. Now, this is kind of the behavior that I've kind of seen so far, and then this is the thing that I've been seeing a lot throughout this game. I don't know if this is going to be something that happens throughout majority of the games that you would have, but this is kind of a little bit of a mistake here, right? It is like the
Yeah, I
first kind of
definitely
mistake.
should have just stayed there.
Right. Right. So you're here, you're playing on this off angle. Again, is this off angle very powerful for you to control right now?
I would say in a moment, yes, it would be.
Yeah, yeah, sure. It's going to be space that's important for you to extend your control onto. But you kind of see how if I slow this down a little bit, right? You kind of turn your attention to your Reinhardt and start walking out over to your
Yeah,
Reinhardt. Okay? I want you to essentially like do like a little lobotomy on yourself and cut out any parts of your brain that are telling you that going back to your Reinhardt's important and valuable and we need to protect our
got it,
Reinhardt,
got it.
right? I like this like that's like straight up lobotomy worthy. Okay, we need to make sure that we are a ruthless killing machine on the off angle and letting our teammates die if it means winning the fight, right? Because this
Got it,
Reinhardt
got it.
has 30,000 different things that he can do to keep himself alive, even if he is alone over here, right?
Got it.
You need to trust that he can do those things to keep himself alive, and that your teammates are going to be able to do those things as well. Now, is your Reinhardt throwing, no, but your Lucio most definitely is by leaving his Reinhardt on this angle. Because what he's doing is he's essentially made that decision where he's like, okay, I'm going to play with my Reinhardt over here. Then he's like, oh, wait, my Kiriko and my Tracer are over here? Well, I guess I could help my Kiriko and our Tracer. And you're
Oh,
essentially leaving Reinhardt
I
alone by himself.
so from what I remember, I think there was a calm that like the Rhine wanted me and Lucio to swap places.
Yeah, no, never follow that. Never follow that, ever. No, not once. That's a stupid comms, and he should not be calming the positioning of his teammates. That is like one of the biggest rules when it comes to comms, right? You don't calm people's positions. That's that you are the one who has the control of the position because you're the one who sees the information. You're the one who knows what is exactly valuable about this positioning, and if you have an opportunity to kind of utilize here. He doesn't see any of
Got
that,
it.
so he shouldn't be the one to tell you any of that, right?
Got it. Got it.
But what can we do here if we do play this position better? How would we play this?
Play with the Tracer, basically like help her do, I guess, like do damage, pressure the Emre. It also would hold the back line back from
Mm-hmm.
being able to push up with the Reinhardt.
Right, right. Exactly, right? So Tracer's going to go in, you go in with the Tracer. Essentially everything that this Tracer does on this angle is going to be even more valuable because she has your support, right?
Got it.
And that also is going to mean that Reinhardt's going to have an easier time doing his things that he does over here because of the fact that there's attention being taken off of him from this direction. But when you kind of respond to a call like that to say, oh, let's switch positions, all you end up doing is taking damage to an Emre, TPing to a Reinhardt, so now you're down cooldowns, putting yourself in harm's way, to be honest, right? And then
Yeah, I see that.
and then you just end up Suzuing something that's not really going to give you any significant value over here, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
that's just something that you would want to watch out for, making sure that you're doing the things that are going to be fundamentally sound and are going to give you significant value, rather than just going based off of like helping your teammates. Number one thing that you want to avoid doing is playing based off of like the calms of like your idiot teammates who are telling you what to do, right? If they tell you something like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna play over here, guys," that's great. If they tell you something like, "Oh, can we, play off of X ultimate?" then that's going to be great. Or it's like, "Can we control this side of the map?" Yeah, that's going to be great. If they tell you, "Hey, can you come over here and play in this position?" you can, but know that you are the one who gets to decide whether or not that happens based off of what you see, right? Okay.
Got it.
Okay. We're here, and again, we still don't save the Reinhardt, right? Not only do we still not save the Reinhardt, our Lucio also probably dies as well, because they weren't here to be able to control the space even sooner. So, whatever. Right? And then we TP out here, and this sucks. Right? So, was that kind of calming happening a lot this game, or was it just this fight?
I'd say that was like the most egregious example. I can't remember like any other times where that was like specifically like, oh, let's switch places.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, okay, okay. Sure. Right. Now, here's the fun part though, is this teleporter over here, right? Now, you're over here with your Echo, and you have the ability to kind of help your Echo control this side of the map. Your
Yeah, I
Reinhardt
see that.
goes over here and pushes onto this side of the map to control this side of the map, right? If if you were to kind of guess which side of the map is easier and closer for you to deal damage to, or to kind of transition towards, which side of the map would it be?
Definitely the right.
Right. So if
I
you're
could just
kind of
walk over.
right, if you're just leaning over to the right side of the map, but this is fine, then keep playing here, right? And you want to keep holding onto the lane, because in the amount of time it takes you to rotate, or if you need to use cooldowns to rotate from one lane to another, not only are you weakening the ability to control this lane of the map, but you're also taking a bunch of time and resources away from yourself to be able to contribute to the fight. So this is another example of the whole entire, I'm on this lane, but now I'm switching over to this lane, so now it's making it harder for our Echo over here to kind of be able to deal with that. Okay? right? Okay, and then now Suzu usage, right? Do you think that this is going to be a valuable Suzu?
No, he has full shield and cover.
Right, right, right. What things do you need to look for when you're thinking about when to use a Suzu?
Burst damage and util.
Okay, sure. But mainly, if those things are going to be hard for us to kind of look for and kind of see. Something that's a little bit more salient, right, is based off is trying to look at things and identify when we should use certain cooldowns based off of positions, right? Is the Emre or the Wu Yang in a position to be able to delete this Reinhardt or do serious damage?
Probably not.
Probably not, because he can just easily effectively shield that off, right? Now, if Emre was here, would that be kind of fun? Would that be a little bit more dangerous?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Why would it be more dangerous for the Emre being like here rather than back here?
That plays more into his like effective range, and then because he's more maneuverable, he can just kind of walk behind the Rhine, and then the Rhine has two areas to shield.
Right, right, right. This is kind of Emery's effective range as well, so it wouldn't necessarily be the effective range component, but it would more just be the fact that it's easier from this distance for this Emery to essentially be able to kind of circumvent cover, right, and just kind of rotate around. So if we're thinking about that, the Emery from a position like this can move anywhere he wants to around this Reinhardt, run circles around your Reinhardt, and then just start shooting him in the back, right? Whereas back here, he wouldn't necessarily be able to do the exact same thing. So if we're going to be looking at that, and we're going to be looking at our current positioning, if Reinhardt is in cover and the enemy is far enough away that we don't have to worry about that, then we don't have to Suzu, right? The two things that we want to look for is, are we in open space? Is the person in open space, or is are they close to the enemy enough to be able to use the Suzu? Right now, neither of those conditions are true, so that Suzu is not necessarily going to be as useful. But
Got it.
it's
Got it.
easier for you in game to look at distance than it is to look at burst mobility or util or any of that thing or any of those things, right? So if we're going to try and prime ourselves to look at something, we would look at distance first,
That makes sense.
right? Okay. Now, this is a thing that is going to I of course I love to be kind of like positive and whatnot when it comes to people in game, but there are certain things that are a little bit annoying to me. A little bit annoying to me. And one of my biggest pet peeves is when the enemy is deciding to kind of say, okay, I'm here, I'm going to fight you now, right? Let us take a duel. I don't want you to see this and immediately decide to just like run. Now I understand why you did use the TP, because you didn't want to risk anything. But I just want you to understand you're playing one of the strongest duelists in the game, because your hero I'm going to be so real is incredibly broken, right?
It's true. It's true.
Yes, it's just the truth. I'm not saying that you shouldn't TP. What I'm saying is that this TP is way too free. The cash just showed his face, and you kind of TP. Now, I get it. Is it risky to kind of wait to start shooting at him? Yes, it is, because there is a chance that he can hit a headshot. However, this is definitely a risk that I am willing to take, solely because of the fact that, again, he has not hit a single shot on me yet, right? And I am playing Kiriko, and I am close to cover, right? Well, not super duper close, but I'm close enough. If I even hit one headshot on this guy, then he's just dead, right? And he's the one who kind of has to
Yeah.
leave in this instance. So there's a lot of these decisions that are made in this game that kind of feel like you kind of made the decision because you just didn't feel comfortable, right? And I want you to kind of make these decisions based off of the idea that I am confident that this is the right thing to do, so I'm going to play based off of what is the right thing to do, not necessarily
Yeah.
with my avoidance of dying. But the biggest idea is that we know that we are not likely to die right now, because is he in a distance from me where he can circumvent my cover?
Not easily. Yeah.
Not quickly, right? So the second that I see this, if I can get to cover or at least get near cover in any regard, right, then I can fight this. Now, if he was right here, right up on me, oh shoot, that sucks. I'm TPing out. He's back here. Can he do damage to me? Sure, but if I get behind cover, I'm safe. And that's the big idea, is just looking for that distance.
I think it was also like a mentality thing because I was kind of aware that this was like kind of a harder lobby than I've been used to for a while. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I was in the mindset where it's like, okay, everyone's really good, and I can't be the one throwing by like taking a duel and feeding. So like I was just trying to play safely.
Yes.
But yeah, I totally agree with.
Yeah. 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 When it comes to nervousness, there are two types of responses. There are two types of people when it comes to responding to situations where you're not comfortable, right? Number one is going to be situations where people are kind of the avoidance type, right? Where if they start getting nervous, and the thing is they don't aren't necessarily confident in themselves, what will happen is they will try to avoid taking any risks, right? And they'll be like, okay, if the enemy team's really good, I need to make sure that I'm not throwing, I'm not feeding, I'm not dying, so I'm going to TP out and I'm going to be avoiding any risks, right? There's going to then
Yeah,
the second type of player in that regard is going to be the opposite, where they're like, oh shoot, this situation sucks. I'm not good. If I don't do anything, if I don't perform, then we're going to lose. So I need to do something like now, right? And then those are the people who rush things way too hard, because they don't feel comfortable. But both of those kinds of things are a response, or kind of like they're a response to not being confident in yourself and in your abilities, right? Now, is this a higher rank lobby than you're used to? Probably yes. Given that I know the Tarte's MMR, I can kind of generally assume that this is going to be a little bit higher, right? That being said, what you need to do to understand this and to kind of perform in this level is you need to find confidence, not in necessarily how good of a player you are, or how good of a player your team is, or how bad the enemy team is, things about like good or bad. This next time you get into a situation like this, I need you to find confidence in your ability to know what to do, right?
got it.
And that's going to be kind of what we're going to be working on here. We're going to be working on understanding our thought process behind what it is that we should be doing, and then kind of, you know, building off of that, and trying to be confident in that, right? Because I'm going to tell you this right now, when I asked you the question about how valuable and how powerful off angles are, and you answered that question in that way, that was an answer that showed you have a very good understanding of a lot of fundamental concepts of the game, right? If you have that kind of understanding, oftentimes, right, I want you to trust in that understanding and doing the things that are based off of that understanding. Okay?
Okay, okay.
So if you're here, and let's say that the cast wasn't here, that the cast didn't come up this way, right? How would you be thinking about playing this?
I would probably stay here and probably continue rotating left to try to get like, or either try to rotate left to like contest that Emre or stay here and just kind of,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like try to poke people out from this angle since like I'm not really being contested from here.
Okay. And why are those two options, or why is those two the kind of the choices that you have to make? Why are those two the options you would go for?
They're both so the if I were to take left side, it's because I have full cover and then that plays easier into my preferred range.
Mm-hmm.
And like it would just be a safer option than like I don't know, like going right side or like just staying here, I'm already here
Mm-hmm.
and I have plenty of cover where I could just like not peek.
Okay.
And so like both options give me I don't know, it's like safety, I guess, and
Mm-hmm.
just playing for like the easiest position.
Okay. All right. Okay, so I want to kind of say something in terms of like and talk about lane behavior and how you're supposed to behave on certain lanes, right? Because what the thing is, the things that you did say are really good observations, and they are the choices that you have practically. Like that's really great. But I want you to have a little bit of a deeper understanding as to how that works, right? So I'm certain that you're aware of the 3 lane system. I'm certain you're aware that Overwatch generally has 3 lanes, yada yada yada, right?
Yep.
Okay. The thing about lanes, and the reason why understanding lanes are important is because lanes are the paths by which we set up off angles, right? So if we know that off angles are powerful, lanes are going to be the pathways for which we achieve those off angles, right? So lanes are going to be really, really strong for us, but who else is, or not lanes, off angles are going to be really, really strong for us, but who else is off angles going to be really strong for?
Both DPS.
Well, yeah, well, but off angles are going to be really strong for our team. Yeah. Who else would the off angles be strong for as well? Right?
Oh, the enemy team.
Right. The enemy team. Okay? So we like off angles. They like off angles. How do we stop them from getting their off angles?
We can test it.
Right. Right? More importantly, the way that you would think about this is by contesting the lanes in which they would use to get those off angles, taking them first, controlling, and then contesting those lanes and whatnot. Right?
Yeah.
Now, here's a going to be an interesting question. It's a little bit more of like a trick question, but it's a I just want you to answer as simply as you possibly can. Right? When in this game do we want to take space and angles?
Whenever it's available.
Yeah, all the time. Right? But there's going to be times, like you said, whenever is available, there's going to be times where, going in and taking more space doesn't really work. When are going to be those times? When do you think?
Like right in the middle of like the team fight.
Okay. Why? Why would trying to take an angle right in the middle of the team fight not work that well?
Usually that's where like the largest resource trades are, and if you're taking time out to try to find an angle during that moment, you're basically not participating.
Right. Right. That's very powerful. That's very important that you said that. That's really really good. Okay. If there is a lot of things happening right here right now, and I kind of go and off and try and make my own angle, then I am not contributing to the fight right here. Right. That's extremely important. Right. So trying to run away from the fight and to kind of get a better angle will suck at that point in time. Okay. All right. Now, what's the other kind of there's because along with that there's also going to be another kind of reason, right? Or technically two more kind of reasons why we would that would stop us from taking space in a fight. What do you think those other two would be?
Like if someone's already contesting it and they have more people there.
Right. Right. So if someone's already contesting that lane, like let's say the Cass, right? Am I going to just walk through the Cass?
Yeah, no.
No, yeah, absolutely not, right? I'm going to fight them where they're at, right? So if I hit something, then I'm going to fight it. Okay. Now here's going to be another. If I kind of bring this fight back over to here, right? Okay. So your team comes up this way, your team is going up this way, and whatnot. Actually, let's rewind this. Let's rewind this back to the beginning, right? And we talk about this point here where we kind of split off this way, right? Now, is there free space for us to take on this lane?
Yeah, like we could go all the way to that room at the end.
Right. We can keep going. We can keep going. You can keep going. Why would we not be here right now? Why wouldn't we want to be here right now?
Mm, timing with the main line.
Okay. All right. Okay, so we talked about this, and we also kind of talked. It's the timing would be off. The timing would be off if we're here. We talked about timing in terms. We talked about timing in terms of before when we were talking about if we leave the fight, we're gonna be kind
Yeah.
of late to the fight when we get there. And we're talking in this context. We can if we're talking in forms of timing, this is going to be too early to the fight as well, right? But I don't like talking about things in terms of time because time is not very easy to see, right? So if we're thinking about timing, we're like, oh, okay, I guess we have to wait for the right moment. Well, how do we know when that right moment is going to be? Well, I'm going to try and talk about it instead of the terms of time. I want to talk about it in terms of something else. Okay. If we're here, right? What is going to be the threat of us being here right now? What would happen?
3 people would instantly look at us.
Right. They would all look at you, and more importantly, oh, well, then if they look at me, I can just like walk behind a cover. What's going to happen even if you do this?
They're gonna push it.
Right. They're going to push you and they're going to walk at you. Right? Okay.
Yep.
And why would they walk at you in here rather than walking at your Reinhardt out all the way over here?
I guess it's just like easier for them to access.
Right. And why is this easier to access than all the way over here, right? Why?
It's just closer.
Yes. Right. It's just closer. Okay? So if I'm closer over here than to the enemy than my Reinhardt is, then the enemy is going to walk at me, right? Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So let's alleviate that problem. I'm going to play all the way out here. What's the problem?
I can't do anything.
Right. Right. Okay. So then what do you need to do in order to do something?
Get closer.
Right. I need to get closer. I need to walk all the way back. And okay, I'm here, guys. Wait, guys, what happened? Right? Your entire team's cooked. Your entire team's
And
dead.
everyone's dead. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So what's the problem with being too far?
I mean, you just remove yourself from everything.
Right. Because if I'm back here, who are they going to push? Me or my Reinhardt?
The
Right. Right. Like they're just going to walk on the Reinhardt. And how long is it going to take me to get back to the fight? Or to be able
maybe
to
like
punish that?
like 5 minutes at that point.
Yeah, yeah, like a very, very long time. Right? So, in effect, what is the value of being closer to the enemy team rather than farther away? What do you think?
Hmm. I guess it allows you more effectively to pressure them.
Sure, sure. But let's say that you had a sight line on the Reinhardt right over here. Like there's a tiny little sliver of like a, like a some CS:GO angle or something like that that you could shoot the Reinhardt from. Would you be able to deal damage to the Reinhardt from here as a Kiriko?
Not very consistently.
Not very consistently. Because again, what's the Reinhardt going to do?
Just shield and keep walking.
Yeah, shield, or he's just going to walk around cover. Right? So let's say he walks around cover, then what are you going to have to do?
Get closer.
Or yeah, or if you want to change the angle, you have to go all the way. If you're keeping that distance all the way out here, and it takes so long to walk, so long to walk. But if I'm right in front of this Reinhardt's face and he walks around a corner, like let's say I'm I don't know, like I'm here, right? And
Yeah.
he walks around that corner, how long does it take for me to be able to see the Reinhardt again?
Maybe 2 or 3 seconds.
Right? Like not even that, right? Like I just instantly
Yeah.
go over here and I can see the Reinhardt again. So if I want to change my line of sight, or if I want to change my angle, or more importantly, if I want to move with the fight, it is so much easier to do when I'm closer than when I'm farther away. But what would be the
Got it.
problem with me being here?
They can change their angle too.
Yeah, but more importantly than them just changing their angle, right? It's also that,
And
yeah, they can just walk on you.
yeah.
Right. So we want to be as close as we can to the enemy team without them being able to walk on me, right? So
Okay.
what distance do we want to play at against the enemy team?
Probably like a medium-ish distance.
Okay, I want you to kind of ask, like, tell me, like, right now, like, as honest as you possibly can. Is there any way that you can actually know for certain what a medium distance is in game?
No.
No, right? So let's make it a little bit more visceral, right?
Okay.
How do we? Let's think about this, right? If I'm playing here right now, am I too close or too far?
Too close.
Too close, right? Okay, so who are they going to walk on? Me or my Reinhardt?
Us.
Right,
Me.
right. Okay, so if I'm playing all the way back here, am I too close or too far?
Way too far.
So who are they going to walk on? Me or my Reinhardt?
My run.
Right. Okay, so at what distance here does that change? At what distance do I stop becoming closer to my Reinhardt than to the enemy than my Reinhardt?
I guess you could just take the second
Well,
corner.
before we kind of put it into a
Oh, okay,
perspective,
okay.
right? Let's do it in general sense. Oh, that I just hit my water bottle into the wall. Okay, it's fine. All right. So in a more general sense, if we just kind of put this in a bigger, more general sense, right? How like at what point do I stop becoming closer to the enemy team than my Reinhardt is?
When I'm the same distance as my Rhine is,
Could I get any closer than that?
I mean, technically, yeah,
But then what would happen if I got closer than that?
we'd get walked on.
Right. So if we think about it, let's say we wanted to get as close as we possibly could to the enemy team to take advantage of that closeness of being able to move with the fight while not being closer to the enemy team than the rest of my team is. Where do I need to play? At what distance? Right? You just said it before.
The same distance as my Rhine.
The same distance as your team. So if we're thinking about how close we can play, or if we're thinking about where we can stage for an upcoming fight, we are thinking about playing at the same distance as the rest of my team. Right? How
Yeah,
much easier is that to understand than timing?
that's way easier.
Way, way
I've also
easier.
never heard it described like that, so like I'm like thinking about it now.
Yeah. 100%, 100%. Right? It's fun. It's fun using our brains. It's fun. Okay. So we look at the enemy's distance from our Reinhardt right now. We look at the enemy's distance from us in the current position that we're kind of at right now. Right? Is this about the same?
I would say so.
Yes. Okay. Let's go over here. Let's say we walk over here with our tracer. What happens?
We get run over.
We get run over. So if I'm playing on this lane and I want to take as much space as I possibly can, at what point do I get to before I stop?
Right here.
Right here. But now we know. Now it makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? So I can take as much space as I want to onto this lane and then I stop. Right? Okay. Now let's fast forward. Right? Let's fast forward a little bit. Okay? To where we were at before. Do we remember the options that we had available to us beforehand?
Yeah.
Right? Stay here or go over here. Now let's talk about staying here. Okay? First of all, instead of going and deepening towards the left side of the map, right? Let's say we wanted to take more space to the right side of the map. And let's say that this cast wasn't here. Right? Okay? What would we do? How much space would we take?
Hmm. I guess not a lot because the Rhine is pretty far back.
Uh, well, no, I mean,
Or
okay. Well, think about it. Think about it this way, right?
oh, okay, okay.
Right. So if I wanted to take the right side of the map, and let's say this cast wasn't here, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to take the right side of the map, I wanted to try and get to a point where I'm as close to the enemy team as my Reinhardt is to them right
Okay,
now, right? I would be about here, right?
sure.
Okay? What's the problem with me going here? What's the problem once I make it to here? Again, assuming that the cast isn't here. What happened to my
I can't
distance?
see.
What happened to
Oh,
my
you're
distance?
further away.
You're further away. How close is my Reinhardt to the enemy team? Especially in terms of their Reinhardt still being alive at that point in time, right? So let's say that. Okay, actually, no, he died pretty quick. But let's say that
He died
their
quick.
Reinhardt was alive, right?
Okay.
What would happen to my distance out here if I went up this
I'm
way?
too far.
You're too far, right? So beforehand, you were saying, oh, it was going to be taking too long for us to make this rotation out here. But right
Yeah,
now, we would know that this is too far,
far.
right? And now that we know that this is too far away, we're getting farther away. That's going to be the other thing that's going to stop us. So once we get too close, that's going to stop us. Once we get too far, that's going to stop us from taking that space,
Okay.
right? Okay, and then there's one final thing that stops us from taking space. Okay? Do you admit that this over here is taking more space on this side of the map than where you're at currently?
Yes,
Okay. What about this? Is that taking a little bit more space than where you're at currently?
I'd say yes.
Yeah. Why would you want to be here instead of being here?
The cover's not that great.
Exactly. Right? So it's not only just about the cover too, right? Let's say that you knew that the enemy team had a Junkrat, but you didn't know where they were, right? Schrodinger's Junkrat,
Oh
right?
my God,
Yeah, that sounds horrifying.
it really does. Oh my God.
Yes. Okay. Would you ever want to be in a space like this?
No.
No, right? So when we're thinking about the positions that we want to take, there's and when we would stop taking space, right? There are going to be three general kind of principles that tell us when to stop. Number one, when we're too close to the enemy team, right? Because that way the enemy can just kind of run up on you and do things,
Yeah.
right? Number two, or imagining if the enemy team was in a clump and if we kind of were inside of the clump, yeah, no, death, right? Number two, if we end up having to go too far away, now let's say that there was a wall here and that blocked us off and we wanted to go out that door, we would have to go all the way out here, but by the time we're here, we're too far,
Gotcha.
right? So we're not doing anything and we
Yeah.
can't reposition to help the fight, okay? And then the third thing is if I go into space that is not comfortable for my hero, right? Like this one. Okay. Now, it doesn't necessarily matter as much right now because there is no Schrodinger's Junkrat in here, thank God.
Oh
But
God.
at the same time, if I'm here, there is something that can hurt me that they have that would be able to deal damage to me in a space like this, right? Then this would not be a space that I would want to get caught lacking in, right?
Yeah.
Same thing about being up here, because again, even though this space gives me a sightline that's more comfortable for my hero, right? I don't have the cover that I need, right?
Yes.
Okay, so why is this a good place to stop?
It kind of fulfills all three of those requirements.
Right. Am I at a distance where I can actually help my team and actually move with the fight?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yes, right? Do I have a sightline that is comfortable for my hero?
As far as helping the team, I would say yes. As far as doing damage, it's a little far.
I would say, to be honest with Kiriko, because of the fact that she has no damage fall off, any damage that you do is fine. You don't necessarily need to be
Okay.
consistent with the shots, right? It's
Okay.
just you need to be dealing more damage than they are to you. And in terms of like your ability to kind of deal damage to
Oh
these
yeah.
people, it's probably going to be slightly easier for you to deal damage from a distance like this than if you were getting closer. Now against like Wu Yang,
Okay.
if you were right in front of his space, then that would be awesome, right? Because then he does no damage, right?
Right.
But being farther away is also kind of be fine too. Gonna be
Yeah.
relatively fine too. You're not at least in a position where you could die to a bunch of random stuff unless Wu
Yeah, I see
Yang
what you mean.
decides to, arc it over because he's also a broken hero. But we're gonna ignore that for now, right?
Yeah.
This is a distance that's pretty fine. this is kind of this is this is pretty good. We're playing close to our team. We're not going too far away, and also we're not getting too close. And also we're playing in a space that's comfortable for our hero. And we wouldn't want to drop down here because this is not really that comfortable for our heroes, right? So
Yeah.
this fulfills all of the requirements, right? Okay. Now let's look at going over here and trying to do this, right? Okay. So about this and playing over here and trying to fight for this. You said that this was also an option that you can do. I want you to kind of evaluate it using the things that we've kind of noted so far. Where do we stop when we try to go this way? Is this a good
We
spot?
sh like yeah, no, because it's too close and the sight line isn't great.
Okay, sightline's not perfect. This is I wouldn't necessarily say it's too close. I think that this is good
Okay.
enough, right? Because again, is this a position in which the MRA can immediately kind of circumvent any cover that you may have?
No.
No, right? Because then you could just use cover and then be fine. So as long as you have that cover or that ability to use cover, and you at a distance where the MRA can't get rid of your cover, right? Then you can kind of take a duel here and you're fine, right? You're playing one of the most a hero with one of the most flexible, effective ranges in the game, right? So this is okay to play here, right? Is this getting too far away from the fight or too close? Not really, right? Now, are you going to be outside of the fight for like a second trying to get over here? A little bit, but it's not going to be that big of a deal, right? You got what I mean?
Yep.
So if
Yes.
we're trying to take more space this way, then this is fine. Now, the reason why I wanted to talk about all of these things, and the reason why I kind of wanted to associate that with lane behavior, is the idea that when we are on a lane, right, or when we were trying, before we're kind of doing things, we have to decide what lane we want to commit to, right? What lane do we want to try and take space on? And oftentimes it's not going to be main. The answer is going to be left or right, right? So
Okay.
if we were
Yeah.
to go left, we would go all the way over here and then we would stop because then this would be the space that we could stop at,
Yes.
right? If we were to go right, this is where we would stop because because any other space further on than this just wouldn't be that efficient for us to take, right? So in terms of you saying you had these two options here and to go for each one of these two options, this is showing that you have at least an intuitive understanding of where you need to be playing and how you can play in the game. But now that we know what we know now, now that we talked about these concepts and actually how they work at a fundamental level, you can have a little bit more confidence that your intuition is correct,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So now whenever you get into a situation like this, I'll at least know that I can be confident in terms of knowing how good my positioning is, as opposed to having to guesstimate and then kind of be like, oh well, I guess that doesn't work. We're not
Yeah.
going gambling here anymore, right? Okay.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yep. All right. So we can talk a lot about that and about a lot of other things as well. I do want to talk about one more thing when it comes to lanes,
Sure.
right? Okay. So when you are playing Overwatch, right, you want to take space on a lane, right?
Yes.
Okay? Because taking space on a lane allows you to set up what?
Uh, Pressure?
Right? Pressure, yeah, but pressure from where? Right? What's the difference between playing here and playing here?
I guess the direction the pressure comes from.
Right. Taking space on a lane allows us to set up an off angle, right? And off angles are good,
Yeah.
off angles are strong, off angles are powerful, blah, 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 blah. We all know, right? And we all know how good space is. Okay? What does the
Yep.
enemy team want to do as well?
They want to do the same thing.
They want to do the same thing, right? So this cast wants to take as much space as he can on this lane, and let's say you decided to play on this lane, play for this lane. You want to take as much space as you can on this lane. Uh-oh, what's going to happen?
We're gonna have to fight each other.
Right. This is what is called a critical duel, right? Where two
Yeah.
players want to fight for a lane, right? Sometimes it's more than two. Sometimes there's kind of ways of talking, juggling the numbers, but the kind of core concept remains the same. Okay, the reason why the reason why there's a critical aspect to this duel, again, is whoever wins this wins the lane, and if you win the lane, you get the angle, right? Okay,
Yep.
so if I win this, then I can deepen my angle and I can set up a better off angle of the enemy team, and he gets stacked in main with his team, right? If
Got
he
it.
wins this, I have to TP back to my team and I get stacked in main with my team, right?
Yeah.
So whoever wins this gets a significant advantage in the game. And a lot of the times when you're kind of going off and playing with your other DPS and trying to flank with them and set up an angle with them, that's going to be the that's going to be how you win this, right? That's going to be how
Hmm.
you kind of set up really good angles, and that's going to give you a significant advantage in the next fight, right? That being
Yeah.
said, we look at this and you TP back. You didn't take the fight. Were you set up in the best position to be able to take that fight? Not really, so I can understand. But what does that, beyond your echo, what does that give this cast a lot more room to do?
Pick the lane.
Right. Which is not going to feel great. Right? Okay?
Yeah.
So now your Echo is going to try and take the duel with this cast. If she had her Kiriko with her still, then this would be a
Hmm.
lot better, right? But again, if she fails, now this cast gets this lane for free, and now you're taking damage from 50 different angles, and then you guys have to run
Right.
out and die. Or die, right? Okay? So
Yeah.
here's the fun part, right? If you were on this lane before, and instead of, and let's say that you were going to lose, but instead of going down here and TPing out, you kind of backed up off of here. Once the Echo comes back in, what can you do now?
Help fight with her.
Right. Go right back and help fight. Why is it harder to do now than before?
I have no abilities and no angles to easily help.
Right. But more importantly than just that, you've given up the lane. Or, more accurately, you've switched lanes entirely. And this goes into a problem that a lot of people have and they don't see, but is extremely consequential. When you are engaged in a fight against the enemy team, or you are close to the enemy team, close enough to be able to fight, you do not switch lanes. Because what ends up happening is people get lanes for free, right? And
Yeah.
we don't like that. So what happens is if you are staying on this lane, you want to commit to this lane and you want to continue doing damage. Now, why is this so extremely important for a character like Kiriko, right? Because Kiriko has such a fun, such an amazing, awesome button where you can press it and get out of dodge for free, and it's so fun and it's so amazing, and I just go back to the safety of my team, right? Okay? First of all, that's a problem. And that's the hidden problem behind Kiriko's TP that they don't tell you about, is the fact that that button is essentially an I give up button, right? And you're essentially putting yourself in a negative situation after that. Now you want to make sure that you've gotten a big enough trade before you hit that button. It's great not to die.
Okay.
It's not great the fact that you give up the space entirely. The
Yeah.
second thing that's important about this is that about saying that is that if you ever hear the words "with my team" and "safety" in the same sentence, then that is a complete oxymoron, right? Because when you are stacked together with your team, that gives this cast this angle. And what happens, how easy is it going to be to shoot you, or if he's trying to target either you or the Lucio, how easy would it be to be able to shoot between these two?
Very, very easy.
Very, very easy, right? So if you're playing Kiriko, TPing to your team just means that you are putting yourself in a position to get hit with the same damage that they get hit with, right?
Yeah.
If I can hold on to the lane, that would be a lot better. But if I have to TP, you gotta TP. It's better than dying, right?
Yeah.
But I want you to be very cognizant of if you are using that TP, and I want you to understand that it is not the strongest thing for you to be able to be utilizing. Okay? But
Yeah.
Echo lives and holds on to the lane because she gets a little bit of help. So now that you are here, what let's think about the situation. Let's think about what happens here. So right here, are you able to kind of go even further left or right now?
Um, yeah.
Are you sure?
Oh, I in this exact moment.
Yes.
No, you have to contest this.
Yes. Okay. Right. What about now?
I mean, I have to wait for the cooldowns. I just have to play here until they come back.
Nah, you don't. All
I
you
don't.
need to do,
Or just keep rotating left.
okay? Here's the thing. Here's the thing about the cooldowns. Cooldowns are very
Okay.
powerful tools. They help you to take more space, right? Even without the cooldowns, you still have your abilities, you still have your weapon. You don't want to take risky trades, sure, but as long as you are playing outside of the enemy's ability to be able to kind of reach you or to be able to kind of push you and walk onto you, right? And as long
Sure.
as you are playing, at a similar distance to the enemy team as your team, then you can feel a lot more confident in knowing that you're not going to die unless something crazy happens. And if something crazy happens, your team can punish, right?
Okay.
Right? And that will make us feel a lot more confident when we don't have our cooldowns. Now we want our cooldowns and we love our cooldowns, but if we're using our cooldowns for something very valuable and very important, then it means that we're going to be getting enough value to make those cooldowns worth it. After the back of that, then we can still go back to taking space and we can still go back to taking the angle. The thing that's important though is the fact that we are locked down right now from being able to switch lanes to take space to do anything, right? Because we are now in a fight with someone. We are engaged in battle. We had to TP out, but what that essentially allows us to do is now that we've TP'd out, now that we know that we've given up this lane already, we can at least have a situation where we can decide where we want to go and how far now. Because there
Okay.
is more space to be taken, and when do we want to take space and angles?
Whenever it's available.
Right? All the time, right? So now that you're here, all we need to do is just lean to this side or lean to this side. Now going up here sucks because there's no avenue, there's no stairs up here that feel
Yeah.
more comfortable. So you probably go over to this side, lean to this side, help your Reinhardt, and then as long as you are not getting too close to this Emray and this Mercy, right? Then you can play over here. Now, what's the difference
Okay.
between playing here and playing here?
You have more options.
Right, because it's much closer. And what's the benefit of being closer?
You can change your angle more easily.
Right, you can move with the fight better. Right? Congratulations. Right? All right. Now we have a little bit better of an understanding. Okay, I don't like this because again, you don't want to. This is just a rule of Kiriko. You don't want to TP to teammates if you don't know what the heck is going on with them. This is
Yeah.
this is teetering the edge of it. Of what's like, okay, I guess in this situation, in this context, it's kind of anticipated that they're going to be okay, right? But at the same time, if you don't know what the heck is happening, then then like don't just
Yeah.
like hard TP to people. Okay, we're here. We start fighting. We hit a headshot, and then the Emray runs. Congratulations, you just won a lane with one shot. Right?
Yeah, I see that.
And then what do you do?
I give it.
Right? So if we walk over here after this, we just keep fighting this, and now we're hitting him with a
Yeah.
two-prong attack. Now that we TP over here, we run straight into a fire strike.
Yeah.
And then now we get our Suzu forced.
And burn it, yeah.
Right? Every single time that you're not on an off angle, there's two symptoms. There's two symptoms to being not on to having a bad angle, right? So just like the symptom of poor distance was, either getting pushed out early or forced out by multiple people, rocked on by multiple people, or not being able to move with the fight as the fight moves, right? The problem with a poor off angle, the symptoms of a poor off angle that we can identify is when you are getting hit with a bunch of random spam damage and when you aren't able to see anything to interact with anything in the fight, right?
Okay.
Whenever you TP to a teammate, you are essentially giving up your off angle, or at least making your off angle a whole lot less angly, right? So what happens
Yeah.
is if you that's it makes every time you TP your team, it makes it easier for you to get hit with random spam damage, and it makes it less likely that you're going to be able to do anything impactful in the fight. Okay,
Got it.
so watch out for that. Okay, and then we walk, and then we walk, and this is fine to walk up here. Problem, had no idea what was happening over here,
Yeah.
right? And then the reason why that sucks, we got hit with a random pin. Oh my gosh, it's
Yeah.
so unlucky. The pin was so random, right? But what do we know now that makes a lot more sense as to why we got hit with this pin?
I just didn't know what was going on.
Right,
And
right.
it was disorienting after the TP.
Sure, sure. There's that. But also more importantly than that, where else would this pin have been going? What other direction would this pin have gone?
Kind of nowhere else.
Right.
I mean,
So if he was going to pin anywhere, it's going to be in this general direction, which is the direction that you're in. And why does that suck? Because we are not in an off angle.
yeah.
Right. Easy to identify.
Yeah.
Easy to diagnose now. Yippee. Okay, we're here. TP. I like this Kitsune, and I want to kind of go a little bit deeply into the reason behind the Kitsune. Okay, what would be? Let me just kind of gloss over this just a little bit. Let's gloss
Sure.
over this a little bit. Okay, what does a bad Kitsune look like?
It hits no one or it's too late.
Right. Or what about too early? What would a Kitsune that's too early look like?
Oh, they just kite.
They just kite, right? So too late is we're all dead and whatnot, so we just didn't pop the Kitsune, right?
Right.
But too early, they just kite out of it. Now, remember when we were talking about when you would use your Suzu, right? And we talked about the
Mm-hmm.
Reinhardt being down here, and we talked about the Emre not being able to kind of circumvent the cover, right? And we talked about why
Right.
that was a bad opportunity to Suzu. That's too early to Suzu on the Rhine there, right? Okay. Why is this a good Kitsune? What do we have the ability to do?
We basically control this whole choke when they want to push in because they're running low on time.
Right? Or if we don't and we want to push into them, can we do so in still utilizing the value of the Kitsune?
Yeah.
Yes, because they and what is the difference? Like remember when we talked about the difference between the positionings of Emre before and Emre over here when it comes to the Reinhardt? Why are we in a position to be able to move with them as they kite out?
Because we're close enough.
Bingo. Right? So if we want to look for when we pop a Kitsune, we want to look for when we are close enough to the enemy. Right? And now close
Yeah.
enough is going to be a concept of reach, which we can kind of talk about, but essentially I'm going to gloss over that a little bit. Reach is going to be the effective range of your characters plus, this range of your burst mobility, right? And how far you can go with that.
Yeah.
Okay? So essentially, like Tracer's reach would be her effective range plus her 3 blinks, right? Are we in a distance where we can close that gap very quickly?
Yes.
Yes. So this is a good time to pop the Kitsune. Right? We are guaranteed to get something out of this. But now we can be confident in the value of our Kitsunes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, 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 yes. Like the Kitsune, like the damage, like the damage.
I could have stayed here.
Okay? Just small little hint, small little tidbit. Generally speaking,
Yeah.
when you're in a Kitsune and your enemy is a Mercy, I don't think you run away from that.
I think I thought there'd be more people there, but I totally just could have stayed here a little
Right,
longer.
right. But it's even then, even in not thinking about, oh, what if there's kind of more people here, right? If we look at the current situation, we don't want to TP out because we are still controlling this lane. Now,
Controlling the lane,
if
yeah.
there is 3 people here, what would be the problem?
They're close enough to punish me quickly.
Right. So if there were actually 3 people and we knew that there were 3 people here and we popped this Kitsune, instead of TPing, what could we do?
Uh, just walk backwards.
You're a genius. Right? right?
Press the S key.
Yeah, I know. It's so incredibly amazing, right? You know, the thing is, the reason why they called Einstein so smart and so genius is because of the fact that all of the things that he said ended up being really simple, right? Now, I'm not comparing myself to Einstein in any sense, but what I am saying is that the smartest ways to play the game are the simplest ones. The smartest answers to situations are going to be the simplest ones, right? This is a very simple answer, and now we have gotten to the point where we can make simple answers to these these complex questions that get posed, right? So what I'm essentially saying is that your brain has now grown to the size of Einstein's.
I'd call that a win.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. Now, again, we lost that angle, and now I want you to kind of notice a little bit about how much we feel like we're just kind of playing whack-a-mole here when it comes to the priorities of things to do.
Yeah.
Right. Are we really? We're not really doing anything proactive here. We're just kind of reacting to like 30,000 things. Right. Now, did it end? Oh, we did something proactive. We took an angle. We took space. We found an angle, and then we started shooting at people. And we did something.
And they died.
And they died. Let's go. And we did more things. And we're doing more things. Oh, let's go. But now we can see why it's a good idea. Okay, now let's go over here.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there more space for us to take?
Right side?
Like, is there more space for us to take towards the right side? No, under here doesn't. Yeah, no. There's nothing here.
Oh, okay, no.
No, right? Is there more space for us to take towards the left side?
Yeah.
But between left or right, is committing to either going to be a significant choice or significant decision right now?
No, because I would say nothing's really happened yet.
Right.
It's time to set.
Yeah. Okay. Now, if your entire team was stacked over here, then yeah, no, go left. Right?
Yeah.
But you've got, Tarte over here following my teachings as I've taught him, yes, head pets. And then it means that like we at least have extended our control over the side of the map a little bit. Right?
Yeah.
So left or right, we're gonna go and stay. We can stay on right side. We can also go left side. It depends on you. But is it bad to be here? No, not at all. Right?
Okay.
Is there more space to take? No. Do we have a good angle that we want? Yes. Then this is fine. Right? And we are ending up doing a whole bunch of damage as a result of that. Now, I don't need you to worry about your Lucio, because if we're talking about anything with our Lucio, what happened to this Lucio? What did this Lucio do?
He got too close.
Way too close, right? And he got punished for it, right? You never feel bad about your teammates dying for making stupid plays, right?
Got it.
Okay. Now we walked back. This is just a little bit unfortunate because we did not know what the heck was going on. But if we look at the positions of our teammates here, right, and looking at where our Tracer is, where our Echo is, where our Reinhardt is, if we assumed that the enemy team was playing in a space like this, right? What's wrong with your position now?
It's too close.
Right. So where would we be moving towards?
Definitely towards the left.
Right. Right. We would be moving, or not towards the left, no, because then what would happen if we were moving towards the left?
Oh, we're just not on and off it.
Right, we're compressing the angle. So if we want to keep the angle, but we want to extend the distance, we just press the S key.
Back up.
Right. So then we would probably try and go around this area, and then as we're kind of poking and see what the heck is going on, and then ending up over here. Right?
I see that.
If the enemy team happened to be over here this way, it's way better for you to not do anything in the fight than to die. So being far away is better than being too close, I will say.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we just didn't time the Suzu well either. So strategically, kind of a misplay. Executionally, kind of a misplay. Put them both together, put like the half of the misplay, half a misplay, and it kind of becomes a misplay at that point. Misplay, so I mean, like, whatever. But I can understand why you would die there. Like, there's reasons. I wouldn't necessarily say a pro would die there, but like high rated players would still die there as well.
Okay.
It's possible, right? Okay. Is there more space for us to take?
Mm, Left side.
Left side, right? And we would choose left side as opposed to right side. Why?
There's more cover, and also it's a different angle than what the team is taking.
Right. Primary thing is going to be my entire team is over here, so I might as well, right? But
Okay.
yeah, that's correct too. I will say though, if you do ever have to try and make a choice between the space that you are comfortable with playing on your hero versus taking an off angle, always, okay, 99 times out of 100, choose the space that's comfortable for your hero, right?
Okay.
Off angles are good, but if you are playing in a space that is not comfortable for your hero, you are not a hero, right? So
Okay, got it.
you have to choose, then choose that. But there is more space for us to take. So imagine if we're here, and instead of playing up here and sitting and stacking them in with our team, we were down here. Like, we could be doing a lot of damage to this
Yeah,
or
I
to
see that.
this, right? And that could be proactive value for you and your team. Okay? Right? Same thing. Same thing.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's just free shooting space right there.
Yeah. It's free space. Free shots, free damage, free space. Free. Right? Problem is, we TP because we're like,
Yeah.
oh, the fight's moving over here, so I gotta go over here. When in reality, we could be moving with the fight in a different way by going out here. Now, if the fight ended up moving farther forward, would we stay here? No, because again, this is not out here is not our space. We don't like this. We want to go to cover from cover to
Yeah.
cover. So then it would make sense for us to kind of going over
I
here.
see that. Okay.
Right. Okay, but we still did things. It's fine. But now there was nothing to stop the M Ray and the Mercy. There was nothing to kill this Mercy for flying straight into our team, right?
Yeah.
Right. And now this happens, and this could be something that does things to us, like forces our
Right.
Suzu and forces us to TP and main, right? Which is dangerous. Okay. So now we're going to get onto the other topic, right? You have Kitsune. I know you want to use Kitsune.
Mm-hmm.
Just we need to take the space, but we need to stop when we are getting close enough to the enemy team for them to be able to walk on us,
Got it.
right? Now our team will sometimes do this. Well, they will kind of close the distance on them. But what is the problem with us all being in this room?
We're all in this room, and then whatever spam ends up happening, like everyone's getting hit by it.
Right. Everyone's going to be getting hit by the AoE. Now, is a Kitsune really powerful? Yes, but there's other things that are stronger than a Kitsune, and I think that you're about to experience that right now.
Yeah.
Yes, a giant angry German man is
Yeah.
definitely going to be a little bit stronger than that. Now, here's a hot take. Very scalding hot take. Is there space for you to take out this way?
Yeah.
So what happens if you walked back here and then popped Kitsune in their backline by yourself?
They can't be in looking at both directions at the same time. And
Right,
I still Kitsune my team.
right. But more importantly, even if you didn't Kitsune your team, right, is a Kitsune on yourself, if you have a very strong position, going to be enough to be able to carry a fight at times? The answer is
Yeah.
yes, right? So you don't what you want to think and what you want to prioritize is the angle, right? If you're
Okay.
trying to pop Kitsune, the angle is going to be way more powerful if you have it. Angles are so much more powerful than ultimates in Overwatch 2. It's unfortunately the truth, right? I can win a fight off of a single angle alone, right? I can't win fights off of ultimates if I don't have angles. It's unfortunate. It's the unfortunate truth of Overwatch 2. Ults
Right.
just aren't as. But I mean, hey, maybe that's a beneficial thing. Maybe that's a beneficial thing, right? But the thing is, even with an ultimate, really powerful ultimate, then they can just respond to with their own ultimates, or even if they didn't, if they threw enough damage down.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right. Okay. So if you ever want to choose to take an off-angle option as opposed to like stacking on your team with the Kitsune,
sure.
it can work. Okay.
Okay.
Right. Nice damage. Nice damage. Nice damage. Okay. Left or right.
Right.
Okay. Let's go right. We just go up here and then we stop. Right.
I'd stop her right here.
Yeah. What would happen if we tried to keep going?
We got blown up by the rock.
Huh?
Or if we keep going right,
Yeah, if we keep
or
going
for
right.
oh, I mean, I don't see anything bad if we just kept going right.
Well, is the fight currently kind of happening right now?
Yeah,
So is this going to be increasing or decreasing or making our distance the same if we were to go there?
increasing. Yeah.
Right, right. So if we're going here, we would probably stop here. Unless
Okay.
we wanted to go out this way, but this is kind of iffy of a rotation. I mean, it
Right.
could work, but we have to watch out for respawns and whatnot.
Right.
But
It's just safe.
yeah, it's just going to be safer that way. Unfortunate with the Suzu. But at least with the Suzu, we can know that if we see our Reinhardt going in like this, right, it's a good
Right.
time for us to try and hit the Suzu on him.
Yeah.
Right. Because an early Suzu to prevent damage is almost better, always going to be better than the late Suzu to like heal the damage back up. Because let's be real, it's not enough.
They might die after. Yeah.
Right, right. It's not enough.
Agreed. Agreed.
Not worth the risk. Now what? Now here's the fun thing: is your team in and close to the fight right now?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. But why should you still not be here?
Because then I'm just gonna die too.
Right, right. So this is going to be the little caveat. You want to be as close to the enemy team. You want to be close to the enemy team at the same distance as your team. But the thing is, if that means that you ever kind of become, get into a position or a situation in which, like, I have to risk my life because I can still get walked on, then I won't be able to do that. I won't
Okay.
want to do that. So you'll stay
Yeah.
outside of the enemy's ability to be able to reach you, right? But
Yeah.
that could be a kind of a limitation. If you wanted to get closer to the enemy, to a sense, to a reasonable degree, right? Sometimes you're going to need to utilize your team as well in order to be able to stop them from walking on you, right? But if you're here, you don't have that kind of team help, so you're going to get walked on either way. But you would also get walked on if you were over here too in this
Yeah.
specific scenario because it's a brawl. So you might as well just get an angle and just do something.
Okay.
Right. Right. So that's a bit poor. Okay. All right. Now let's keep going. Man, it takes a long time to walk between points. This
Yeah,
is
it
why I
really
hate
does.
Flashpoint. Yeah, I know. Okay. Left or right?
Left.
Definitely left. Why would I say left?
Um, the echo's there already taking the angle, so we can take that easier. And my team's probably gonna play main,
Right.
like on point.
Right. But the biggest reason why we would go left is because we're pretty much already there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're already on the lane. Might as well commit. Okay. Play here. Fight. Do things. Do damage. Cause the thing is, I was kind of wondering with this situation if it was like if there's something better that you could have really done here. Now, could you have tried to? That's just hindsight. I'm not gonna bully you for that, and I'm not gonna bully you for the TP either. Right? Like that's gonna be a situation that just happens. They just want it, and that was just better for them that way. Okay, but here again, once we are TPing back, we need to really be thinking about the angle that we're going to be holding, which is probably going to be back here, right, or something, or at least we have to find a spot that gives us a space that is comfortable for our hero, right?
Yeah, I could even just keep going left. Oh no, the
Yeah,
Emery's there. Never mind.
right. Like the cast is there,
Or the
but
cat.
but funny thing, you're kind of beated right now. So what you could do is you could play here, and you could play with the intention of dueling this cast, right? Which honestly
Ah,
might even be more valuable than healing your Reinhardt.
Right.
but because you're just going to get into a situation. He's going to be here anyway to duel you, and not only
Yeah.
is he going to be able to duel you, if you had dueled him here, you could have hit the duel here before he was able to use High Noon. Now that he's here,
No,
he's able to use High Noon.
that.
So this kind of
Yeah, it's
sucks.
too late.
All right. Whatever. That was going to be a hard fight to win either way. It's fine. Okay.
Yeah, we lost there.
Right. So now that we're here, which side are you leaning more towards?
Probably right side.
Right. So if we're leaning towards right side, we need to be putting. Where should we be putting our attention?
On the right side.
Right. This is more important than this. This is not on your angle. This is not on your lane. Leave him to the wolves. This is more important. Right. Okay. Now, if you're here and you can do this, and there's nothing else for you to do, there's no more space for you to take, then sure. But if there's more space for you to be taking, then you should be prioritizing taking that space.
Okay.
Okay. Right? Now you're on a lane, and now you're doing things, and now you're helping Tarte, who's on Sojourn, which is definitely his better hero. So, whatever. Okay? Right? You're here. I get it. You're running away from the Emre. But, like, I feel bad now. That Suzu was a bit of a panic.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Poor guy.
I know.
I'm sorry.
He can blame me.
No, it's okay. It's okay. He won't. I told him about this game, and he was flaming himself the entire time.
The
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
This is forced. This is really forced because again, look at the
My team
distance.
also called for it.
We called for it. The
Yeah,
Kitsune.
I wanted to push this corner first and then.
Yeah. If we call
They
for the
just walk
Kitsune,
away. Yeah.
I think this is fine if we call for it because I don't. Again, you don't know what the Ryan sees here, so I think it's
Yeah.
fine if we call for it. But even if we do call for it, this is the next thing you do. You pop the Kitsune here and then you turn right back around and deal with that. Okay? You fought that, and now you're still fighting that, and now you're still doing awesome things, and yeah, not your problem. Right? Because again, this Reinhardt is still probably going to die, because again, he has no off angle and he's 1 HP. Right? And not only is he, yeah, because he still dies, but not only does he still die, now you have this in your backline that you have to worry about. Right? Whereas this fight could have been significantly more winnable had that cast been like, you know, easily able to be cleared out. Now, they still did win the fight, but
it would have been easier.
Yeah, easier to win and more consistent. There would have been more opportunities to win. Okay? Left or right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. And then you'll be here, and then you'll see this, and then you'll know this, right? But you won't be here, and you won't see this, and you won't know this if you keep walking in main with your team. Notice how, when am I asking you left or right?
Like when we're setting up for a fight.
Right. You know, I'm asking you when there's downtime, when you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
Right. Because then that's when you want to decide and set up for your next position.
Got it.
Right. Okay. I really don't like the TP, but I mean it's whatever. And also, I think that's the rare echo voice line. I think that was the rare echo voice line that you just heard there. So that's interesting.
Got lucky there.
I know, yeah. Okay. Left or right?
Left.
Definitely left, right? Okay, so what could we do? Yeah, yep. We could literally just climb up on top of this and just sit here, and then just spam when they come back.
Okay.
Right? Because what's going to happen, I want you to look at how much stuff you actually get done after this TP. So you heal that for now. Heal full HP Ryan. I mean, heal his armor a little bit. Okay, now we're in a position to finally do something, right?
Yeah.
Now, if we look back here at what actually happened on this side of the map, if you were up here, right? Cass came over here, Mercy came over here. You can do damage to Mercy, do damage to Cass, right? Your Genji and your Echo come over here to try and fight this Cass, right? This Cass doesn't end up dying. This Kiriko and Cass start walking onto your Echo. You could be still there to be able to get all of these picks, right? Suzu comes out. You could have killed before the Suzu. The blade comes out, right? All of these things end up happening, and you weren't there. Now, had you had started over here, could there have been things that you could have done potentially from this position earlier on in the
Yeah.
fight, right?
Yes.
But because you switched over the lanes, that's what ended up happening.
I see.
Okay? But you're still doing a whole bunch of really valuable things now, and again, right? You are 150 HP. This Kiriko has not hit a single shot. You've hit the headshot.
Yeah.
You have the advantage. Right? Okay, still doing more things. But again, it ends up not being that big of a deal. But again,
But
you're not going to be able to control that. You're not going to be able to control
Yeah,
that.
I see.
Okay. Is this Echo just trying to farm for the rare voice line?
I have no idea.
Okay. Left or right?
Left.
Okay. Maybe sit here. Right.
Yeah.
Now, I don't mind this because what's better about this position than this position right now?
I guess the rush, maybe?
Well, no. I'm talking about
No.
can you shoot things right now?
Oh, yeah.
What about now?
No.
Right. But again, if it's time for you to be shooting things, then that's going to be whatever. The second that you need to be able to rotate up to this position, you need to be able.
Okay.
You should probably
Like as
try
far
to
as
take
they
it.
walk when they walk
Right.
through.
Right. Okay. Early rush.
Yeah, team's not close enough.
Yep. I didn't even need to say it. I didn't even need to say it. Right. Team is not close enough. So you want to. The thing is, a really big habit that's going to help with a lot of these things is checking for our teammates' positions. Right.
Okay.
We need to be able to. We need to be constantly looking around, seeing where the heck our team is, and building that habit so that these things like these don't really happen. We'll have enough information to go off of, right? Because we do all of air with that. Now, did it end up being that bad? No, because your team did get stuff from that. Now, there is an argument that your team. When I looked back at this previously, there is an argument that your team could have gotten those picks and gotten that trade value without the rush. But it did support. The rush did support to a small degree. It's just that this was a very inconsistent rush.
Yeah, it could have been better.
Right. Very non-greedy rush. When you could have afforded to be greedier. And again, we TP to a position and then immediately go down to 2 HP.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now, is there more space for you to take right now?
Yeah, but I'm also in point.
Yeah, no, I'm just trolling you. Right. This is going to be something that's valuable.
Maybe
right?
hypothetically, yeah.
Yeah. This is an angle. This is an angle right now because you're off angling the point right now. That's.
I sure am.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. And your team is just spawn camping these guys. No, I would have committed to the spawn camp if I was you. I would have been like, yeah, no, let's do it.
Yeah, we're wimps.
Like, let's do it. No, yeah, no, we'd win. No, we'd win. Right, left or right.
Compared to this fun camp. I would go left because I think I knew they were going right.
Okay. So you just play left, but it means that if you're playing left, you would play more in a position like this, right? Because what would this position allow you to do rather more so than this one?
Just play cover and not be too close.
Right, play cover and not be too close. Also,
Oh.
Yeah.
More flanking.
more flanking, and flanking is good. Don't let people kind of dissuade you from that. Flanking is good. There are going to be times when you're not going to want to flank, and we can talk about those times a little bit later or maybe another time. But right now, at least, I think that it's going to be the most important thing that we can focus on is just how we are my goodness, can I speak? How we are behaving on these lanes. How are you playing on these lanes, right?
Yeah.
Okay? But at least you committed to a lane here. Now, was it the lane that we probably wanted? No, but this works too. Okay? They popped 30 ults. Now, I know about this Suzu because like there was the high noon and you were trying not to die, but again, you were beated. Right?
Yeah.
So, and then you still end up dying to that. Whatever, man. Stuff happens. And of course, you guys had to end off at 6-7%.
Hey, I didn't point that out.
Okay, hey, that's mean. All right, and then this is one of Tarte's times where he said that he was throwing. I don't know what the heck he was doing. Oh, he just wasn't paying attention. Or whatever. Okay.
That's okay.
That's okay. We can be at least that level of lenient. Don't with the Suzu. Now, I have a question about your positioning. Left or right? Which side are you leaning more towards right now?
Kind of right-ish? Or
Yes.
wait,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
could just stay here
We're leaning towards the right. And again, and you can stay here. And why are we going to stay here?
because I have the choice to help my team and shoot the enemy on the right.
Well, no, that's
No.
not what we say. Because again, there's going to be a lot of positions that give you that opportunity, right?
Yeah,
But why is this position right now the one that we should be choosing?
because it's closer to the fight.
Or, well, more importantly than what would make a position like what would make a position better than this one?
If I had high ground, yeah.
I mean, yeah, okay. What I'm trying to get at here is that the value of a position is based off of the amount of space that it takes, right?
Okay.
Right now, at least to a degree, to a degree, a larger degree than other things,
Mm-hmm.
but to a significant degree as well. Right now, is there
Sure.
any better space for you to take?
Not really.
No. So that's why this position is the best one for you to be in,
Okay.
right? It's just it's that simple. Don't Suzu that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, no. TPing on the Suzu there is just not going to work. Your team is going to lose that either way. And okay, man. I'm trying to glaze you, man, but you keep doing this to me. You keep doing this to me. Okay. Left or right? Pretty obvious at this point, right? Now we could theoretically kind of play right here.
Go back right.
Yeah, no, this is fine. In fact, actually, it's kind of warranted. I would appreciate it. But you see how we're not doing either?
Yeah.
Right? Now, if we were here, we could have done more stuff here. If we were here, we could have done a lot more stuff here. But right now, we're kind of sitting in the middle. And we don't want to sit in the middle. Right? And there's a reason why we don't TP out into people, right? Even when we think that it's going to be safe-ish. Because things like that happen. Which he used High Noon last fight, I believe. I think it was... Oh, no, it was 2 fights ago. It was 2 fights ago. But still, I don't know how he got High Noon so fast. Right? But at the same time, this is why we don't TP on people if we don't have information. So that's going to be an incredibly important thing as well. Right? With your TPs, with your Suzus, with your Kitsunes, have the information first. Understand what the heck is going on. Okay? Right? Which side of the map are we playing for, generally speaking? Left side, right side, whatever.
Right side.
Yeah, we can go right side. We can also technically try and go left side. I mean, we kind of have a little bit of choice when it comes to that regard. But I think right side is probably going to be better.
Yeah.
Right. A majority of the time, both sides are going to be equally viable. This sometimes though, and then at that point it would kind of depend on where majority of your team is, and if you want to diversify the space a lot more, right? Sometimes it's only going to be one. Most of the time it's going to be multiple. Right now though, it's just better for it's just this one's just going to be infinitely better, and then we just take the space, and then where do we go? Do we go over here?
Oh, too close.
Too close, right? So we just chill. We just chill, right? But we can't see anything here. We can't do anything here, right? So when do we go closer?
Yeah. When the Rhine gets closer.
Or more importantly, when the team as a whole gets closer.
Yeah.
There are going to be times where your Reinhardt is going to int and feed. You do not want to go with him.
Okay.
Right. Team as a whole, not just specifically the Rhine, but I mean, Rhine. If the Rhine is positioning properly, then yeah, you could try and go based off of that. But team as a whole, with more of a weight to the Rhine, team as a whole. But then team starts walking up, I can start walking up, and then it makes a lot more sense.
Okay.
Now we decided essentially to swap over lanes,
yeah,
right? I don't necessarily think that this is horrible because there's realistically no way we could have anticipated a flank like this, right? And honestly, it might have even been better that you weren't here, right? But at the same time, we can kind of see like these situations are going to be very few and far between.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Look at where you're at. Look at what's about to happen. Right. These guys are about to get close. Instead of TPing, what could we do?
Back up.
We can drop off if necessary, and then we can just climb back up. And when would we climb back up?
When our team is engaging.
Right. But more importantly, our sojourn, right? Because this is only 2 people.
Oh, okay.
Right. So if you
Yeah.
got a 2v2, then you can at least take the 2v2.
Okay.
But the reason why this TP is poor is because you guys are now going to take a 2v2, but you're on the same angle against a
I see.
pocketed individual, right? So
Yeah.
this Mercy can just not peek y'all at all, and then pocket this guy, and then have this guy just take the super powered 2v2.
Yeah.
Right? And see how you're not
Yeah,
able
I
to
see
do any
that. I
damage
see
to the
that.
Mercy or the cast. Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Now, if you were here when that happened, instead, right, climb back up, hit some dinks, hit some headshots, Susie
Yeah, I see
yourself, right, makes it so much easier for the Sojourn to do her job.
I could have even just rotated like to the right of that column.
Yeah, sure, sure. But Tarte going in, you know, my goat, thank you. And you just hit shots. Nice. All right, let's keep this going. Now I'm assuming that I think this game gets really close, right?
Yeah.
It gets really insanely close.
I think we lost just due to like me not hitting shots at the last point. It was bad.
Well, you could see it that way, or you could see it as in we don't necessarily get to control the shots that we hit oftentimes, right? It's going to be
Okay.
kind of RNG, right? But what we can control is some of the decisions that we make earlier on, which
Yeah.
definitely with how
That's what I'm
close
saying.
this game was, you know would have probably won you this game.
Exactly.
See my point?
Yeah.
Okay, and then we aren't doing anything, and we're not going
Yeah.
to be here to be able to help with it to help with this thing. Okay, but we're also not here enough to be able to do anything. Now, why would
Yeah.
playing on this left side of the map suck in comparison? What's wrong with this? What's wrong with
It's
this
like
picture?
close quarters with the Rhine.
Yeah, yeah. I think the words that you probably could replace that with is ah, right? Like this is
Yeah.
dangerous,
Yeah.
heavily dangerous. So, Suzu happens.
Yeah.
I mean, he was kind of running away from the Suzu, so it's okay, whatever. This would be the better Suzu, much better Suzu, but
Yeah,
it is what it is. Okay. Okay, then we get damage on the Rhine, then try and fight that, and then we get shattered, then we die. Okay, so that's gonna be fun. Whatnot. That's gonna be fun and whatnot. There's just one more thing about this fight beyond the things that we kind of talked about already. That you know is a little sucky, right? You see that glowing button at the bottom of your screen?
Oh, hey, that thing.
Yeah. Do you think that the enemy is in a distance in which we can actually like trade value with them?
Yeah.
Kind of, right? Things are
Kinda.
happening over here. Things are happening over here. Things are about to happen over here, right? Like we could wait maybe a little bit, like a second or two, but we should probably, at the first reasonable opportunity, we should pop it. It's going to be the exact same thing as like
Yeah.
the Suzu, right? You pop it earlier on once the opportunity to pop the Suzu happens, because that's going to be way more
Yeah.
consistent. Same thing with the ultimates, right? Way more consistent. So popping the ultimate like sooner rather than later means that things like
Yeah.
this happen a lot less,
I see that.
right? And there's like 30,000 different ways that we could have done this, and we could have done enough damage to this Reinhardt before, or rushed his shatter to a point where it was blockable, rather than giving him the perfect opportunity to hit a shatter on you.
Yeah, I see that.
Gem? Same thing, same problem. TPing straight into the middle of, right? Things that you don't know what the heck is going on, right? Okay, that TP was a little bit better because it's like you can reasonably say that he's not getting walked on by
Right.
people. Okay, I'm here. I want to pop the ultimate right now, right? Because again, people are right there, and I see the fire strike, so I should be immediately pressing the button. And if that would have
Yeah.
happened, you probably wouldn't have encountered this situation where you pressed it and then died immediately before it could get cast,
Right.
which is a little bit unfortunate because you didn't know what the heck was going on over here, and it was hard to be able to know. But again,
I could have just done it earlier.
probably could have, probably should have done it earlier. Like this is
Okay.
just, and the reason why that this ult would probably work a lot better is they're close. But even if not, this space for them is going to be really, really powerful and really strong is in terms of the defending side of the map, right? So
Yeah.
even if they kite out of it, the value of them giving up this space is going to be extremely important. It's going to be
Yeah.
extremely high.
We take that space.
Right. So again, whatever. Right. Okay, we TP here. We kind of walk with people, left or right.
I'd say right.
I'd say right. Okay. So yeah, you go right. Okay, you actually do go right. This works. And then you just help and you fight for people. Now, this situation, if we kind of look what happens here, what is the problem though? What's the problem that ends up happening?
I get too close.
Right. So
I just
if
need to back up.
you just need to literally just press the S key just a little bit, and then just keep shooting at the Rhine. Now the reason you get too close is because you're like, oh, I need to do more healing or something like that. And there's a lot of people who do this. There's a lot of people who have this problem where they'll get into a flow, they'll get distracted, or they'll get focused, and they'll get like in a situation where it's like, I need to, or it's high tension, high stakes, and they'll default to a lot of poor habits in that case, and a lot of the times the poor habits that they'll default to, which are really easy to see for me, by the way, are going to be indicative of a problem that they might actually just have in general, right? To me, when you are kind of going back and constantly in these situations, defaulting to kind of going healing teammates that are not even like low HP, it probably means that you have way too much of like an anxiety of your teammates dying, right? At least that's
Yeah.
what it signals to me. So if there's anything that I would want you to work on, I would want you to work on seeing your teammates as subhumans, as
Oh my
tools,
god.
right? They are subhuman tool doll toys for you to use to deal damage to the enemies and win games. Okay, these guys are
Alright.
Overwatch players. They don't deserve rights. Okay, jokes
Not
aside,
even
though.
Proteo.
Jokes aside, jokes aside.
Oh my god.
Right. But yeah, you can be a little bit more comfortable with not with prioritizing dealing damage in certain instances over
Okay.
healing, because damage is the number one thing that matters. That's the thing that matters from everyone, right? If healing people allows your team to do more damage over time, then heal. But if your damage is what's going to be the end all be all, then just deal the damage, right?
Got it.
My biggest advice, my biggest strategy for helping you do more healing or do less healing and do more damage in a game is turning off chat.
Okay.
It works so well. It's like such a limiter has been taken off of you, right? Just
Yeah.
turn off chat, and I'm like, I don't have to hear them complain about me. Man, this is just amazing. It feels so
Just
good,
do what you want.
right? I can throw their games and not feel any remorse. Man, that's
I'm taking notes.
right. Okay, yeah, and then this gets really, really close at this point. And I'm wait,
I don't know. I
wait,
don't know.
wait.
Whoa. What?
Tarte def.
Yeah, yeah. His aura's just
His aura is way too strong, way too valuable.
he's
Okay,
going with his mind.
insane, good damage, good off angle too. I think that this is fine, right? Like we don't have to care about left or right as much right now, because again, we're here and we have an off angle from our team, right? So just deal damage to people, heal people, deal damage to people, right? Okay. Now, if we're going to be thinking about what's going on here in terms of like what we really kind of need to think about this way, this is a rough fight that's really close, the most important thing for you to note is the fact that you guys have control over point right now. Once you
Hmm.
have control over point right now, you do not have to stand on this thing. It is up to
Okay.
the enemies to stand on this thing. So that means that you can go and take better positions for yourself, especially since no one's here right at the second. And
Oh
that
yeah.
way, you can just keep dealing a whole bunch of damage and killing things. It's going to be way better for Captain Mex over here to be the one who stands on point, or at least tries to contest and touch point than you are,
Right.
because he has the better survivability and you can pocket him harder, right?
Yeah.
If in this is a situation where if we can just like prioritize being safe, that would be the most beneficial thing. Now that you've TP'd over to this position, I'm fine with this TP because you avoided that damage. The last thing you want to do is walk on point,
Okay.
which you kind of just do. Now you do end up getting close enough to hit the... was that a misclick? Or was that intentional?
I I don't know. It may have been a misclick.
I mean, he wasn't, unless you have like the Suzu speed perk. But like, even
I
still,
don't think I do.
that's not, yeah, I think
Or
that's
I think I
probably a
do, but
misclick.
I think that was a misclick.
I think that's a misclick. I mean, that happens. Whatever. We get the beat. Don't walk onto point. Save the beat. Like, actually, that was fine. To be able to walk into the Tracer and just fight the Tracer there, like, that's fine. Problem is that now we just lose the
Now
positioning
I
again,
yeah.
right? And especially in a situation in which you are 97 to Kitsune,
Got it.
right? Because
And
then
then I
you get walked on. Because the problem is that you get walked on, and why do we always get... What's the problem with us getting walked on? How do we... What did we fail at?
just being too close.
Too close, right? So you get walked on, then you have to TP to hit the Kitsune, so you have no TP, you're 1 HP, and then you just die, right?
Yeah,
If you
I
were
could have
still
just stayed up.
here, hit the Kitsune, then just start shooting and killing everything as everything comes on, and then you just walk on point later on. But that's it. That's game, and that was close as that was close as beans. That is not what I meant to do. Don't worry about this quick play record. Somebody was in my games the entire time. All this red is
No, it
just visual
happens even
glitches.
to goops like you know?
Yeah, I know. It's all of this is they're visual bugs. Visual bugs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Which one was it? No, it wasn't
It was
Dorado. It was an
Atlas.
Atlas.
I
It was
think
this
it
one. It's the
was
competitive Atlas. Yes. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is my favorite thing to do in a session.
sure.
Okay. Nice. So now hopefully my pen works. Yippee! All right.
See,
1, 2, 3. Okay. What are 3 things that we can work on in this game?
well, like you said, treat my teammates as subhuman.
Um,
Just
I
play
think
more.
no. I think we can. I think we can talk about it in terms of attention,
Okay,
right? Like,
that's
see,
probably a
I can
better.
translate that. I can translate. I can translate.
Right.
All right. What else? What else?
Just holding off angles and not giving it effort.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna say lane behavior. Right. See, master translator. And then there's one last thing that we kind of looked at a lot, right? That kept happening frequently.
Spacing, like
Or
distant.
more importantly than that, because I want to keep the lane behavior. I want to keep that
Okay,
as part of lane behavior. But more importantly than that, what were you pressing consistently in situations you probably
the
should have?
the teleport.
Right. So I'm gonna say CDs and ultimate. Right. Now I want to wait. Hold up. I'm gonna experiment with this, and I'm gonna try and see if I can learn to do the fancy and symbol. I don't know how it's done. Hold on. I'm looking at my keyboard right now. Okay, so it's like this, and then you are
Uh-huh.
like that.
I don't know if that's the way I would have gone about that, but
And then yeah, no, it sucks. Yeah, no, it sucks. I'm sorry. One day,
you
one
could do
day.
a plus sign.
Yeah, but then that's just like, it's not as posh, it's
Fair
not
enough.
as, I need to be, I need to be. very, very, posh about it. I need to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They need to know that
Distinguished, distinguished.
distinguished, right? Start speaking in a British accent, but like a really bad one, but like a really,
Oh my
really
gosh.
bad British accent.
And that's channel branding.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I
The
might have to
coach
do
with
a
the
video though.
bad British accent.
100%. All right. Okay. So, for attention, right? Because we're going to be talking about this. I'm going to say damage. Right. Let me say damage over healing.
Got it.
Yeah, it's a little math joke because it's like division sign of
You know
fractions.
what's
Ha 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 ha
hilarious? I
ha.
thought of that exact thing.
Yep, 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 yep. Yep, 100%. Math is everywhere. Math is everywhere.
Sure is.
You can't escape it.
It's
Eh,
scary.
yeah, very, very, very. Okay, so we're going to talk about damage over healing. Then we're going to say keep attention on angle slash lane. That is not an L. Lane.
If you
Okay?
think hard enough, it might.
Huh?
Yeah. Oh, nothing. I was making a continue on.
Your mic kind of cut out there, so I just
Oh,
couldn't hear.
it was not important.
Okay, okay, okay. I see how it is. I see how it is. You're backtracking on the joke for me. No, I get it. I get it. Okay, so keeping your attention on the angle or on the lane that you need to, right? Prioritizing damage over healing, and another thing. Ooh, right. Another thing about comms when we were talking about comms earlier,
Yeah.
right? Focus on like this what you can see, what's directly important to you, what you can see, and not necessarily the things that others say. So right, so say ignore. That is not a G. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's better, but I need to get rid of that little thing. I'm sorry, my OCD. I don't actually have OCD, but I'm just saying. Ignore comms, because I know a lot of people would get mad about that if I said that I had OCD and I didn't have OCD.
Yeah.
I'm just particular, okay?
It's a touchy topic.
Yes, 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 yes. So ignore comms slash I'm gonna say ignore comms slash what should I say? Potatoes. I'm gonna say potatoes. That's what I'm calling your team. Potatoes. Right, just a little underline there. Potatoes. If doing your job, right? So ignore them if you're
Yeah.
doing your job. Okay? Definitely ignore the potatoes.
Gotcha.
Okay, now when we talk about lane behavior and how you're supposed to be behaving on these lanes, okay? What's the first question we ask when you have downtime?
Am I taking left or right?
Right, okay? So left or right, right? Knowing which lane that you're going to be taking. Okay? Then what do I do? What do I always want to do?
Contest the angle
Okay.
or deepen?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Take as much
Deepen
space as
it.
possible. Take as much space as possible. Right? Take as much. Oh my gosh. Okay. Just imagine that's an H. Space
Will do. Will.
as possible. See, I know Españolo. That should tell you how well I did in my Spanish class. Um, okay, so take as much space as possible. Then the final thing that we want to look at, I'm going to split it up, and I'm going to essentially say stop if, right, and there's going to be a bunch of different conditions. When do you stop on an angle? What situations?
Uh, okay. If it's contested,
Okay, if
if
okay,
yeah,
okay, so if someone there, right? Okay,
if the spacing of like the rest of the team is further than you,
okay. So if too close, right? What else? What? So along with too close, what's the other one?
Too far.
Too far. And then there's one more. Right? We kind of talked about it a little bit. We didn't talk about it too much, right? But when we were talking about the type where you would stop in a lot of instances, right? How does the map influence where you stop?
I'm having a hard time conjuring this far.
Okay, right? So remember we talked about Schrodinger's Junkrat,
Okay.
right? We talked about if there's a Junkrat and we don't know where he is, what space do we not want to get caught in?
I guess just the unknown space of possible imminent death.
Right, right. So the thing about Kiriko, if we talk about Kiriko's effective range, because of her lack of damage fall off, where would we want to be ideally? Or where would be the safer place to be ideally?
Just not in that space, but like able to see that space.
Right. So generally speaking, when it comes to Kiriko, right, you would want to play in open sightlines because you can, right?
Yeah.
If you can play in closed sightlines, sure, but there's going to be a lot of heroes that are going to be better than you at that. There's going to be heroes that are better than you at open sightlines, but the difference is that if you're playing far away from the enemy, it's going to be hard for them to walk you down. If you're playing close to the enemy, they can walk you down. So you would rather choose to be farther away than closer,
Got it.
right? So the idea is when you're playing to space that complements your hero, you're good. If you're not playing to space that complements your hero, then you don't want to be there. So not your space, right? And then
Yeah.
those are going to be those little things, right? Okay. Now, when it comes to your cooldowns in your ultimate, okay,
Hmm.
what is the biggest thing that we look for to make sure that those cooldowns and those ultimates and those whatever resources are going to get value?
Positioning of the enemy team.
More importantly, what specifically about their positioning?
If they're a threat to the person that
Mm-hmm.
I'm planning to use my resources
Right, and what determines when they're a threat? If they are
close enough to my team.
close, right? Okay, so Suzu slash alt when enemy is in reach, right? And that's going to be that big kind of concept, right? Talking about reach. But most
Hmm.
importantly, I'm just going to add a little kind of tidbit here that says close, right? Okay, so we're going to Suzu and we're going to use our ultimates when the enemies are close enough for them to be valuable. Okay?
Right.
Then the next thing about our cooldowns, right, that we want to talk about specifically with your escape cooldown, right? What's the thing that we would want to say about your TP?
Uh, don't TP to give up your lane.
Right. Don't TP to give up your lane. Right? That's a very very big one. And I think we can end it off there when it comes to your cooldown usage. I think that should be fine. I don't necessarily think that we need to like put and do anything specific. Unless we talk about with Kitsune and using that from like an angle, but I don't think that that should be a focus per se just yet.
Okay.
Right? What do you say?
Oh, I was just saying, yeah.
Okay. So we can end it off there. No, and of course that goes into that. Okay, wait. There it is. Okay. So, are you writing this down or taking a screenshot?
I am.
Okay. Is
I'm
that
taking a screenshot.
taking? Yes. Got you. Okay.
Yep,
All
just
right.
got it.
And I have taken a little snippet of you, and I will send it to you for redundancy's sake. Okay.
All right, perfect.
So, practice time. How we want to practice these things. The most important thing that we want to do when we are practicing is taking these things and practicing them one at a time, right?
God.
Okay, so what this is going to look like, and we're not talking about attention or lane behavior in CDs and Ultimate. We're talking about in the things that we're practicing inside or within these kind of categories right here, right? So, like for
Mm-hmm.
instance, let's say that we wanted to practice the whole left or right and deciding on our lane and committing to our lane, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what we would do is essentially we would go into our games and the entire duration of our game we're going to put our effort into the game and say every single time we have downtime, let's commit to a lane. Which lane do I want? Left or right? Left or right? Left or right? And continuously keep asking ourselves left and right. Right? Success does not mean actually doing it correctly or poorly. Success means that we actually remembered to do it and that it was actually
Yeah,
on the brain. Okay? Right?
got it.
What we are going to do is we're going to try and continue and focus on that throughout the entirety of the game. If we cannot do that, if let's say we just do not have the ability to focus on it for the entirety of the game, at least make the first 3 fights perfect. If we cannot make those first 3 fights perfect, then focus on it for the rest of the game. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
When you start practicing these things, you will suck. That is okay. You are using a mental bandwidth that would normally be utilized for other things and other tasks and putting it directly onto one particular thing and task. But that the more we focus on these things, is the less mental bandwidth that they will take up. Right?
Right.
Okay? Now, in terms of the order in which I would want you to practice these things, lane behavior is definitely number one. Right? Definitely going to be number one on the list. That's going to be the most consequential. Right? Then I would practice your cooldowns and your ultimate usage, right? Because that's going to be something that's going to kind of add on to the positions that you take. And then finally, I would work on like where you're putting your attention as well. It is still going to be important, but I feel like the other two are going to be better at giving you the confidence to make the attention a little bit better as well,
Right.
right? And also the attention thing's a tiny bit more situational, but not necessarily. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, we talked about that. We talked about how to practice. We talked about all of those things. All right. Do you have any questions for me?
Honestly, no, like it was very comprehensive.
All right. All right. I love to hear that. Okay. So that will about do it for the video portion of our review. All right. Of our session here. Okay.
Yeah.
Before I do go, I will say just giving a shout out to the fact that it's really funny that Tarte is in here.
Yeah, that's actually crazy.
Right. Yeah. If you guys are here, watch the video that I did with him. That would be great. That's the Sojourn
I'm gonna have to
VOD.
go do that.
Yeah, I know, 100%. So the one of the Sojourn VODs that I have, the one on angle exposure, that's going to be the big one that he was in, and that would be kind of cool. It's really interesting the fact that two people that I've coached have gotten into each other's games. You never don't see that every day. But apart from that, that is going to be the end of this video. Do you want to say goodbye to everybody watching?
Um, Goodbye, everyone. It was a lot of fun, and Andromeda is a goated coach.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. She was not paid to say that, not in any slightest way. Okay. Anyway.
I was paid, guys. I was paid.
No, no. All right. Goodbye. I'm cutting that out.